This is a continued discussion from the previous episode of Nose to Tail, a podcast where we explore the world of aviation lifecycle solutions, insights, and more. Presented by Jet Midwest.
So where is Icelandair going? So you talked about the retirement of the 757, and that's sort of a slow drag out, right? And it's appropriate pace, I should say, for what the business model is. So what's the next fleet type? Where's Icelandair going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Next 5 to 10 years. So they have made the decision to transition over to Airbus. And that's going to be Airbus 321. We are rolling in, I think, 2 this winter, just to kind of get familiarized with the Airbus. It's a big transition. It's always been a Boeing company. And I think by 2027, we are going to be out of the 75 completely. And the actual replacement is the 321 XLR, which comes out in 2029. So until then, we're going to be doing a little bit of mixed fleet, Airbus and Boeing.
How has the MAX operations been for Icelandair? And I know certainly they had some challenges early on, and as prior to actually Icelandair putting them into service. But how have the MAXes performed for you guys?
They have performed, I think, better than expected. They're doing much longer flights than we initially thought they would do. I've flown the MAX to Orlando, which is a 7.5-hour flight. The fuel, obviously, it's much more efficient aircraft. It is smaller though, so it doesn't have the payload of the 75. We've been able to utilize the belly space of the 75 for cargo purposes. Our export of cod and that kind of product. In general, I think it's been pretty good. The challenges were more or less all outside Icelandair's control. We have had some kind of weird challenges, like it's much lower to the ground, the engines. So I think they're actually doing like an extra sweep of the runways in Keflavik to protect the engine from dirt, stuff like that.
That's good. It's smart. I mean, that is one of the big challenges with the aerodynamics and some of the unique design that they were going through is with Boeing when they put the bigger engine on. There's already a low airplane compared to the Airbus, and you put a bigger engine on, caused unique problems.
Mm-hmm.
So you were talking about belly freight. On that Icelandic videos that I was watching, there was some videos that were talking about the Icelandic horses, and I know that you guys transport horses on your freighters. Tell me about that. I mean, it sounds pretty unique that you've got your 75 freighters out there with a bunch of live animals on them.
I don't know a whole lot about the operation, but we export horses. It's actually a big business in Iceland, exporting horses. It's a unique horse. It's smaller than regular, and it has an extra, you can say, 5 gears instead of 4. So it's like a trot that's unique to that horse, and it's very popular in the States and in Germany in particular. So they breed them over there, but we export them as well. We breed them in Iceland, export them to Germany and the US, and probably other places too. But that's about it. I mean,
well, I'm sure it takes a special kind of horse, an animal, just to survive in Iceland in the general conditions.
Yeah, it is known as a calm, like a steady horse. It's pretty stocky, strong horse, and for its size. And one of the issues with animals in general, coming in and out of Iceland, is that it's very hard to import an animal. It's going to take you 3 to 6 months just for permits and stuff like that. So horses actually don't get imported back into Iceland. You export them, then you don't move them back.
So you fly special containers to the US or to Germany with horses in them, and then they come back empty.
Yeah. As far as I know.
Well, they better come back empty. So someone better be paying for the freight, something coming back.
And I think actually, if you take them, like if you take a racehorse out of Iceland, you're not going to take it back. You're going to.
So what's the least? Yeah. Well, I'm sure there's certainly governmental controls, right, to make sure that you're not bringing some disease onto to an island where it's very isolated. Might cause
and we don't have things like rabies and stuff like that. So there's a reason for that being that strict.
Well, that's good. I mean, don't need that.
Yeah, you don't want that.
It's hard enough life in the wintertime on a rocky island there. It is actually quite beautiful. I was out fishing last summer for my 50th birthday with some of your folks, and we had an absolute blast. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was the first time that I've really not been in the city. We were doing some salmon fishing, and unfortunately it was According to them, they said it was too warm, if you can believe that, in July to the salmon basically we weren't catching any salmon, I'll put it that way. And we turned a really good fishing trip into a really good drinking trip to celebrate my 50th. So that was pretty awesome. I was a little bit shocked that, in the wilderness, really far from civilization, and there really is very little natural wildlife. Part of that's obviously because of the weather conditions. There's probably not a lot of animals that can survive. I mean, just like we we're talking about the Icelandic horses, which are very robust horses, would probably got to be robust by being on the island. That probably a lot of the other animals the same way. Now, you mentioned a couple of, you said the Arctic fox, and what was the other one you mentioned?
Mink.
A mink, yeah. So I didn't see any of those. Maybe they were all over the place, and I just didn't know what I was looking for.
They tend to hide. They're you're not going to see them unless you really, really look for them.
And then you had these like suicidal birds that would just dive into the river, like you just see them pulling in super skinny beaks, and they were fishing for something.
Yep.
They were more successful than I was on that trip. I could definitely say that. So looking back maybe a little bit to aviation and some of the things that are going on. We talked about Icelandair, and you've had some history with the Maxes now in the service with a little bit smaller capacity, but really a pretty high performing aircraft. Now, you guys made this decision to go to the 321s. Help me understand maybe what is that aircraft going to be able to solve that capacity issue that the 737 is leaving you as you exit a 75. Does that 321 have the capacity? Is that really why you focused on that aircraft?
Yeah, the challenge has been to find a aircraft that actually does fully replace the 75. So far, there just isn't any. Not with the payload and then the range, passenger count. That particular market that we're in, it just has been a very good fit for Icelandair, being with our network based in Iceland and flying to Europe and the States. The XLR is the closest one. I think it's probably not going to have the same payload, but it has the range and the passenger count. Actually has a little bit more range, I think, some versions of it. So we'll be able to go a little bit further.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. I'm excited for those next journeys through. We do an awful lot of support with the 757 fleet. And it's been one of our bread and butters for a long time. And like you guys, it's such a unique, awesome aircraft that really serves a lot of different missions really, really well. So it'll be interesting to see how we can support you with the Airbus and even with the Max as they start to get a little bit of age underneath them. But those are pretty young airplanes still. I think you've only had those in operation 83 years.
No, we've had more. I mean, there was that period where they got grounded, so I don't know if you include that, but I think they're coming up on the 10-year, like the first year change and all that. So we'll have the Max, I think it's 2032, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it's like every good plan that Icelandair has, dealing with you guys over the years. And I have to say, they don't mind changing their minds and keeping something for a little bit longer or just kind of deviating on those plans. It's great that you have that flexibility as an operator to do those things. And maybe that's a little bit of the culture of, you live on an island. And so, these are the resources that you have. And so you got to find the best way to maximize what you've got. Is there anything else from an aviation standpoint maybe you want to talk about or that's happening for either for you or within Icelandair?
Loftleidir has the same challenge since the 75 is leaving the fleet. We'll have to transition as well. We've had those, I didn't mention the VIP operations that we do. Those are 2 to 3 week tours that are just VIP set up on a 75.
So is that like the equivalent of like going on a cruise, but you're taking an airplane?
Yeah, kind of.
What type of routes are you guys running there? I don't need the exact specifics.
No, I don't.
Not a pitch. Are you guys going to the Caribbean? You going to
No, it's like Samoan Islands, Asia, that region, South America. Different routes depending on the company.
Do you have flights in Madagascar?
Not that I know of.
Okay,
we might have.
I've always been intrigued by Madagascar, so that might be on my bucket list of a place to go visit sometime.
Yeah,
might not be what it's chalked up to be. That in my mind, it seems like it's pretty cool.
Yeah, but those have been very popular, and I think we have some point we have like 3 of them operating at the same time. It just depends on the company where they go.
So since it's VIPs, it's 757, that's all business class?
Yeah.
Okay. How many passengers is that? Probably E?
Yeah, there's 2 versions. There's 50, about 50, and then 70.
Okay. And for those people who don't know, traditional 2-class configuration is 147 maybe, somewhere in that range?
No, it's 185.
185?
Our setup was 185.
Okay. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So you're taking 100 seats or more out, at least an awful lot of room for, I guess, a vacation on an airplane. You could throw a casino in the back. I put a little poker room back there. I'd join that flight.
Yeah.
So I ask everybody what their favorite airplane is for various reasons. I've had a lot of really great answers. So Toti, what is it? Tell everybody out there, what is your favorite airplane and why?
It's not a surprise. It's the 757. That's the aircraft I worked with the most in my career. It's a very versatile aircraft for what we do. It serves our network. We have short routes and long routes, and we can do all of them. It has the payload to serve as a kind of a cargo-ish as well. We only had 2 cargo aircraft at 757. So the passenger aircraft has taken a lot of load. That. Yeah, just overpowered. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah,
with it basically.
Yeah, it's I feel bad that Boeing stopped producing them. Obviously, they've got a different business model in mind than the 757 was providing them. But I certainly, like I said, it's a robust airplane with really is a unique mission for a 3x3 seating configuration. It's also wider on the inside. I always enjoy riding on it.
Yeah, you feel it compared to the MAX, for example. On longer routes, you feel it's smaller. MAX was a smaller aircraft.
Absolutely. So the 757 for me is by far my favorite. Now, those things may change over time for various reasons, but I certainly love it. And for anybody out there who hasn't flown on Icelandic yet, there is some interior reconfigurations, maybe 2018, 2019.
Yeah, they've been
slowly
through a few phases of upgrade.
And I know that the interiors that I've been on, they are the nicest 757 interiors of any 757 I've ever flown on, and flown on quite a few here domestically between American, Delta, and United. And certainly the Icelandic fleet is just an absolutely outstanding experience in the cabin. So I would encourage anybody to do that. And one of the other neat things I like about Icelandic as an airline is if I buy a coach seat, I get the opportunity to bid on an upgrade. It's money, right? You're still buying an upgrade, but you have opportunity to bid on that. So maybe $125 to upgrade your seat from, say, London to Reykjavik, to go from me in the coach class cabin into the first class cabin. And maybe a bunch of people want that. So it's going to cost you $350. But at least you get the opportunity to throw a bid in there and gamble a little bit to see, okay, how little can I put in there and still get one of those business class seats that they're so well cherished there on the flight. So I think it's pretty cool to be able to get that a different way to do the same thing, as opposed to saying, oh, I'll use my point, I'll use my credit card. It's pretty, and then you don't know. They notify you the day of the flight. Yes, you got upgraded. Congratulations.
Okay. Yeah. I've never done it, but
You've ever?
No. I mean, usually I either flying for work or standby, so I guess I don't have the option.
That's too bad. Toti, you should spend a few bucks. You should splurge on yourself. I'm not sure, you should probably get a discount too, but I understand the dollar bills for the airline are pretty important. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on Nose to Tail. It's great to have a conversation with Toti. Hope all of you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe to our podcast to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. And I encourage you to go back and find your favorite episode. Thank you, Toti. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our podcast, Nose to Tail. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Presented by Jet Midwest.